Good morning. It's Tuesday, June 30th. And on Sunday, I read several newspapers, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Vox reported United States officials learned months ago of a Russian intelligence unit that secretly offered bounties to the Taliban for killing U.S. and other coalition forces in Afghanistan, even as the peace talk to end the war were continuing. American spies and commandos reportedly told their superiors about the plot as early as January, after discovering a Taliban outpost filled with U.S. cash. I don't understand why the Taliban would be interested in doing this, because we reached a peace deal earlier in the year. So why would the Taliban get involved in an assassination plot like this? And this sparked some questions from both the Democrats and Trump allies. According to the Times, U.S. intelligence officials told the president about the findings in March and offered a number of options for reprimanding Russia, including escalating sanctions or issuing diplomatic complaints. But Trump didn't choose to retaliate at all. He ignored the suggestions of the intelligence officials, and he ignored the fact that Russia had sponsored a Taliban attack on U.S. troops. The Times also stated that President Trump was briefed on the intelligence findings and that the White House National Security Council actually held a meeting about it in late March. So the denial doesn't hold water with me. Trump has categorically denied ever being briefed. In his tweet, he said, "Nobody briefed or told me, VP Pence, or the Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, about the so-called attacks on our troops in Afghanistan by Russians, as reported through an anonymous source by the fake news, New York Times. Everybody is denying it, and there have not been many attacks on us." And then, of course, Trump throws out this statement that nobody's been tougher on Russia than us. Well, that happens to be true, as I checked on it, and happens to be true. He has been tougher on Russia than anybody in recent memory. But there's a but. He's been a pussycat where Vladimir Putin is concerned. We all remember when he told the world that Putin had told him that Russia didn't interfere in the 2016 election, which in essence was throwing our intelligence sources under the bus. Now the president gets a daily briefing called the PDB. That's the Presidential Daily Briefing. That briefing is produced by the Director of National Intelligence and involves fusing intelligence from the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Security Agency, the FBI, and other members of the U.S. intelligence community. That briefing is prepared for the president every single day. Now, we know from past experience that the president is not very good on briefings, and he doesn't do a lot of heavy reading. So there's a question in my mind as to whether or not he really was paying attention at the point that this particular episode took place. And of course, we have no way of getting hold of all the presidential briefings, so we don't know. But my supposition is that he was briefed, but he wasn't paying attention and he doesn't read the briefings. So in his mind, he wasn't briefed. Now, according to Kayleigh McEnany, the president's press secretary, The CIA director, the national security advisor, and the chief of staff can all confirm that neither the president nor the vice president were briefed on the alleged Russian bounty intelligence. Now, the statement that you made doesn't confirm that this information doesn't exist. It just says that they didn't get briefed on it. And she also claimed that the New York Times was erroneously suggesting that the president was briefed on this matter. And of course, the Russians and the Taliban deny that this ever happened. So, well, you wouldn't expect them to admit it anyhow, right? But they have come out categorically and denied it. The Times also reported that the Trump administration has held expanded briefings with the British government about this intelligence because the British forces were also believed to have been targeted. Now, I'm sure most of us have been paying attention throughout Trump's presidency, and we can see that he has a soft spot for Vladimir Putin. He admires the man, so it's not surprising that he didn't go after him personally with respect to this piece of intelligence that he claims he didn't know about. His relationship with Putin has always bothered me and bothered many Americans. To me, it looks like Trump is after some sort of quid pro quo. Maybe there's a real estate deal, maybe there's money to be made after he leaves office. Right now, nobody knows. All we can see is Donald's deferential treatment towards Putin. He refuses to go after him personally. So, I'll see you in the morning. Have a great day.